So I'm Zach, and I've done over 1,000 real estate wholesaling deals. And what I really wanted to break down today is my story, my journey, exactly how I went from broke to millions in 3 years, from 17 years old to 20 years old. That's really what I share today. That is my goal for the day. And really what I want to show you is exactly how I got to that and exactly how you can do the same thing and what I do now and how you can be as successful as possible. That is what we're doing. That is the goal today, guys. I'm going to make you a millionaire if you follow my advice, and we're going to break it down, guys. I'm not a guru sellout. I'm going to break down everything, guys. You paid $5,000 to go in a little mastermind room. This is what I'm giving you. This is the same, literally the same exact information. So I'm excited. I'm ready to go. So without further ado, let's share this. Let's really break this down. So I want to start off with a quote. How did I actually become a millionaire in 3 years? And this is a quote from Warren Buffett I really like. This is a quote that really shaped my story on wholesaling, right? So Warren Buffett says this, sometimes it's not how fast you row your boat, it's how fast the stream is going, right? And I think a lot of people say quotes like that all the time, but why this quote resonates with me so much, I love Warren Buffett quotes, but the one thing I've noticed from this is some people say in a different way. It's like, it's not how hard you row, it's what type of boat you're in. And this is the same mentality he's saying there. And the reason why I was so successful, or why I was going so fast in my income trajectory, was because I was in the right boat. I was in the right stream, right? I was in wholesaling real estate. If I tried this to become a lawyer or a doctor, I would not be able to become a millionaire in 3 years. If I did Shopify, drop shipping, Forex, whatever you want, in 3 years, most likely I would not be able to become a millionaire. I just want to give everyone an FYI on that. I was in the right boat. I was in the right stream. And if you're watching this right now, you are in the right stream right now. You are in the right place. The truth is, you can work really hard, guys. I know people that work their butts off, okay? And they're barely scraping like $50,000 a year. And they work way harder and more than me. A lot of it's more manual labor, but like, it's not about how hard you're rowing the boat. I think a lot of people in real estate, a lot of people in wholesaling like to be like, I rowed harder than everyone else. Well, I had a huge 300 horsepower engine in the back of my boat and I just whooped y'all. Okay. Like sometimes it's not about how hard you're rowing. It's just about being smarter. And I think a lot of people really confuse that. And why I was in the right boat was because I was broke. I had no money, but I was able to become a millionaire because wholesaling is pretty much the only side hustle, more or less, that you are able to go from no money to a ton of money in a very short period of time. Now, it's not guaranteed. It does require work, but you're able to do that because you can find somebody that wants to get rid of the property for cash, find a rich landlord or a house flipper and make a $15, $20, $25, even a $30,000 finder's fee and assignment fee. No other business, Shopify, drop shipping, Forex, crypto, whatever you think it is, it requires $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to start out. Where wholesaling, it costs $0 and you can easily make $20,000, $25,000 in a month doing it. I made $20,000 my first month. I had a We Buy Ugly Houses sign, and that changed the game when I was 17 years old, where most other side hustles, they can't even go near that, right? Like you can't get $0 and actually get 20,000, right? So this is the point. This is what I want everyone to understand about my journey. Why becoming a millionaire in wholesaling when you have no money at all is amazing. Like why it's actually possible because of this. You can go from nothing to something by the power of just getting a finder's fee from rich landlords and house flippers, because they're willing to pay you right now. There's landlords and people looking to flip houses that will easily pay you $5, $10, $15, $50,000 to find them a good real estate deal. And this is shocking. I know I'm kind of saying this from a macro perspective, but these people will pay, guys. I have paid people 25, 30. I paid somebody $40,000 to get me a deal where I made $80,000 on, right? Like I'm more than happy to pay somebody $40,000 if they give me the right deal, a right creative deal, good rental property. I'm willing to do that, right? Because it's going to make me money. I pay someone and I still make money from it. These people are out there. There are hundreds of thousands of types of those people that are willing to buy rental properties and flips and give you a really nice assignment fee and a really nice finder's fee. And 100%, the best part about this is it's 100% legal. Most title companies have attorneys that are going to write you the check for this. This is 100% legal in most places, guys. There's not one state in the United States of America right now where if you follow all the laws, it's illegal to do wholesaling, right? There's one state, Illinois, where you need to get a license to do more than one deal. But outside of that, you're pretty much good to go. There's a lot of gray laws out there, but really you can do it basically anywhere. And that is the honest truth. That's why I love wholesaling real estate so much. That's why I'm so passionate to teach you guys this today. So let's kind of break this down. Let's really get into this and really share my story, right? So what is my story? I think a lot of people know my story. I'm having a lot of new people joining the channel lately, and a lot of people just on all the social media. So I think it's kind of cool to get a fresh slate for everyone who doesn't know who I am. So my name is Zach Ginn. I live in Stuart, Florida. And basically, I'm like 3 minutes from Port St. Lucie. So that whole area, right? And really what I personally do is I wholesale houses. Call myself a real estate investor. I do all these things, but mainly what I do is I teach people how to make a bunch of money, and I make a bunch of money. That's what I do. So let's break down my story. Okay. Let's just so you guys understand it. Okay. I started out broke at 17 years old. That is how I started my journey, right? From age 14, pretty much to 17. I was making $8 an hour, and then they gave me a 25-cent raise, I think, when I was 17. So I was making $8.25 an hour. And the only reason I was making $8.25 an hour, not $8 an hour, is because the federal minimum wage the state federal wage, minimum wage went from $8 to $8.25. So they had to pay me more, and they did not like that. So I was making $8.25 an hour as a broke bag boy. Okay. I was actually not allowed to do the stocking the shelves or any of that stuff because I didn't really like talking to people too much on the bagging, because a lot of these customer service is never fun. But they never let me do it. They didn't think I was good enough. And yeah, I never got any satisfaction from that job. So scrubbing toilets and bagging groceries, that's basically what I did. I was working about 39 hours a week. They never did me 40 because then they'd have to give me full-time benefits. Gotta love being a bag boy. Okay. That's how I started out in this business. Absolutely sad, but it was the truth. So just so everyone knows my background, my dad actually has been wholesaling since 2004. And that's pretty much all he's been doing since 2004 up to when I was 17 years old. And I always heard about it, but like never had any interest in real estate. That was confusing. Didn't think it was cool, right? And then one day I saw a $20,000 assignment check on his desk, and I was like, dang, that's more than I'll even make this year. That's crazy. So I kind of like told him, like, hey, how can I start wholesaling? Like, I'm going to start making some money in real estate. I didn't even know what wholesaling was. Like, how can I make money in real estate? And he said, oh, if you want to get a deal, go get one. Like, figure it out. And that was a hard lesson to learn, but like he was doing his own thing, and I didn't really, wasn't too passionate about it until I decided just to read all of his books and start learning wholesaling, right? So that's really how I learned what wholesaling real estate was. That's how I learned what real estate investing was in general. I started looking up online, and this is kind of the beginning of a hero story or the beginning of a villain story, whatever way you really want to look at it. Because for the gurus, this is the villain story. For the people watching me and getting free wholesaling information, this is the hero story. Whatever arc you want to put this as, you can. But I went online, I went on YouTube, and I searched like how to start wholesaling. And how it always worked is it explained what wholesaling was. And then before they're going to tell me how to actually do it, they said, if you want to learn how to actually talk to a seller, buy my course. And they didn't give it to you. If you want to learn how to find motivated sellers, buy my course. If you want to find how to do a cash buyer, buy my course. And I was jam locked every single time online trying to learn wholesaling, because like the internet was the greatest thing in the world, right? When I was starting out. And the sad part about it was there was no information. There's no guy or gal out here giving complete start to finish wholesaling real estate information. So it kind of sucked, but I had to learn the hard way. You know, I scraped together the videos that I could find, and I scraped some old real estate books my dad had. And I kind of had to start at 17, right? Like I started wholesaling at 17. I didn't even know what I was doing because all this information on YouTube, I didn't learn a dang thing, right? Like there's all $10,000 courses back then. And of course, courses are $5,000, which is so cheap now. But like this is like, it made me really bitter against the real estate guru industry, because people were charging I didn't have 10 grand to learn, right? And this drove me insane. So what I did was basically I just put "We Buy Ugly Houses" signs out, and I eventually got a deal. But like I had I failed, and I did everything the worst way possible. And then eventually, through all my errors, I learned exactly how to do it the right way from just doing it right. And then like eventually my dad started helping me a little more after I was doing a deal or two, and then like I just learned from him, and I was like, dang, you know. If I didn't have my dad here, I probably wouldn't be doing nearly as many deals starting out, right? I probably wouldn't be a millionaire in 3 years. And I'm always upfront with that. And the reason why I made this YouTube channel for everyone just questioning it is just like, I struggled so much starting out that like for the average person right now in 20, like this year, if they tried it and and if I wasn't doing a YouTube channel or me and Rick weren't doing it together, you guys wouldn't even learn wholesaling. Like it would all be like, here's this, this, and this, but you got to buy a course. And it's really sad that that was the state of things. And I started a YouTube channel in 2019 because I was sick of it. Like I was like, all right, now I'm a millionaire. You know what? Let me start helping people out and let me just document what I'm doing and let me actually try to be that person I wish the person I was seeking when I was 17 years old. And pretty much me and Rick been sharing real estate wholesaling information for free. We have the largest real estate wholesaling course in the world, which is absolutely for free. And if I had that course starting out, I would probably be triple my net worth right now. And that's very sad to say, but uh, that's the truth, right? So the reason was I made this YouTube channel because I want to be the only free real estate wholesaling person to give information. And there's no other person that doesn't sell a course on the internet right now. And it's very sad to say. And you can mention whatever guru you want in the comments. Every single one I've checked, all states, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, California, Texas, they all have a stinking guru course. Okay. Looked it up. So what I can tell you is we're still actively right now the only people giving real estate wholesaling information out because I wanted to be that person I was when I was 17. I was looking for that YouTube channel to help me out. So that's it. And then I have a free wholesaling course, which is, I wish I had a free course, and it's at freewholesaling.com right there. And yeah, that's just why I have the course that's for free. And then the YouTube channel. So really, I just put "We Buy Ugly Houses" signs outside my high school wrestling tournaments, right? So I was working full-time as a bag boy pretty much. I was doing high school wrestling and I was full-time in high school, right? So that's like three things going against me, right? So I put those "We Buy Ugly Houses" signs and eventually got my first deal, made 20K and made about 100K before I graduated high school, 18 years old. And then from there, pretty much, I scaled my business with my dad. So eventually I made a bunch of money and we decided to just partner up together. And pretty much we've scaled it up to a 7-figure real estate wholesaling and investment company that right now is one of the largest in my area, is the largest in my area. And pretty cool. And I'm trying to become one of the largest JV wholesalers in the country. And that's my story, right? Really, like if you look at my story though, I'm going to go in more detail about it. Let me kind of go in more details about the stages of me becoming a millionaire in wholesaling and how you can use these stages for yourself. This is going to be really important for you guys. And I really wanted to share it. So what are my stages right now when I started out in wholesaling, right? So this is my stage, okay? Stage one, I was about 17, 18 years old. And this was what I call my seasons of wholesaling, right? Every stage is a year. And I kind of learned and did different things every year in wholesaling, become a millionaire. But this is really what it was. Stage one, I call it my learn and earn year, where I really learned, I made my mistakes, I failed a bunch of times, but eventually from 17 to 18 years old, I made 100K. And that was my first year wholesaling, $100,000. And that was great, but like that was pretty much what I got my first year. And there's people making 500K their first year, way more than that, but that's where I was at. I didn't have any free wholesaling information except for my dad pretty much. And then any of the books he had. So like, I think I made out pretty well. Okay. I ain't going to lie, but I really call that my learn and earn year. Right. And what was stage two, right? Stage two is when things got a little more spicy. Okay. This is when things got a lot better. All right. I call it my growth year. Okay. This is probably where I grew the most in my wholesaling career. Like in 1 year where I had the most growth, this was about 300K I made. And I tripled my income from doing just basically cold calling. And I learned how to do better at lists. I didn't get any, like, I didn't get a billion times better, but like I got 3 times as better. And it worked really well. And I think a lot of people get really confused. But like you really look at like rookies, right? So like you look at Patrick Mahomes, like his rookie year, he was okay, but like his biggest growth was from his rookie year to the first year he started, right? Justin Herbert, like you look at quarterbacks like that, right? Dan Marino to a point. But like you look at Michael Jordan, his rookie year versus his rookie year his first, like his second year to his third year, like that second year is really when you can shoot off really well. And that's really where I found the most growth because I made a bunch of mistakes and it it grew like crazy. So like you look at a lot of people, that growth year was probably the most important one. And really I hate to say it, but like I hate like the words kind of, abused now, but like it was my grind year also. That's when I stopped working a job and all I did was wholesaling. Like like I'm a man of my word, and my word is my reputation is my bond. And I can straight up and tell you this straight up to you, like anyone watching this. I pretty much ate, lived, and breathed wholesaling real estate for that entire year. Like what I did that year was my lost year. I pretty much kind of think of it. All I did was wholesaling. I woke up, thought of wholesaling. I went to bed, thought of wholesaling. Kind of weird, but all my buddies and friends can tell you that's all I did my second year. And that's how I was able to triple my growth. All I literally thought about was wholesaling real estate. That's all I cared about. And kind of sad to say, but like it was true. And that was my biggest growth. And I didn't have to do that every single year, right? Like I don't even do that now because I've grown so much that like it just exponential growth. It's fine, right? But like that was my biggest year, I could say. And then stage 3 is a lot easier for me. I actually only made 500K stage 3, but because I had a lot of growing pains. And let me explain that. So stage 3 was called my scaling. That's really kind of partnered up with Rick and we kind of scaled up together on it. So that was a weird one because I only made 500K, but our business did $1 million, but we split that evenly. So it was really 500K. And then from there, it like tripled pretty much every year to a point. And then it's exponentially going up, right? But like doubling $3 million is so much easier than like 10xing that 100K for me. Like it's so much easier right now for me to double my business than to go from that scaling. That scaling sucked. Okay. That it sucked. I'd rather grind than scale because just there's so much risk, so much stuff going on. But honestly, it was crazy. But like, yeah, that was basically my scaling year, right? We kind of split it from 19 to 20. That was it. Get systems in place, hiring people, like acquisitions people, dispositions, like all that stuff, starting to do virtual, really testing SMS out, like all this stuff. We're able to net about 500K each, which was really nice. And then it grew like crazy after that. But like, really, that was the stages of me going out. I learned how to do flipping stage 3. Like, those are my 3 stages of becoming a wholesaling millionaire. And really, it changed a lot. Like, a lot of my growth happened year 2, but it really changed a lot. So that's what I'd say. Those are my stages, right? So what are stage 1? Well, let's explain stage 1, right? So stage 1, really, my main focus was making 100K, and I blew that out of the water. But like I made around 100K if you really look at like the first year, because I didn't start at 17 years old. I was like I think like 3 or 4 months in at 17. So 100K my first year, 17, 18. So it was great. About 5 deals. It was like average 20K deal. It was really good. Before graduating high school, I was strictly only doing bandit signs. And I was really just learning the ins and outs of this industry, like the ins and outs of wholesaling. That's really what I was doing. Like I made a ton of rookie mistakes. I spent a ton of money on bandit signs, reinvesting the business, and really like it really was one of my fondest memories in my life was doing that because like I didn't really have a care in the world. 100K at 17 years old is like, I don't know, $50 million at my age. I feel like, $50 million at someone who's like 50 because like if I'm living with my parents and I'm in high school, like how am I going to spend 100K, right? It was kind of insane, but yeah, that's really my first year, right? I think I had to make those mistakes because if I made those mistakes now, I'd be losing on millions of dollars. And I only lost like 20 or 30K. And it was really expensive mistakes looking at it now, but it was 100% worth it. And it helped me so much growing as an entrepreneur. So I would say it was really good for my growth. And I really liked that stage. And it was really fond memories there. Stage 2 is my growth stage, right? So really all I was doing, and especially on my growth stage, and this is what I think a lot of people need to have a growth stage. I think a lot of wholesalers, when they eventually go from 100K to $1 million, they have that growth stage. And I think everyone really needs to have it, right? And this was basically me just adding on to what I already knew. Like I was just leveling up, right? Like I was just leveling up my levels of my skills, right? It's really when I hit Super Saiyan, I like to think, right? This is really when I hit that level that started changing things, right? And all I really did was like nothing crazy. I went from like level 5 to like level 10. Like you level up from there. And I think every 10K is maybe a level or 25K, whatever when you really want to think about it. But like pretty much all I did was I started adding more marketing lists and marketing channels. And really the biggest growth I could tell you personally was when I just started cold calling, right? And I got a dialer. I had a Mojo dialer back then. And I just tripled my business by cold calling. That's really all I did. I failed a lot. I was trying to scale, and I really I was a terrible manager starting out because I didn't know how to manage, right? And eventually got better, read up on a bunch of stuff, really started learning more and more and more, and failed a lot. But I found out what made a good cold caller, what made a bad cold caller, what makes really good scripts, what makes really bad scripts, and at this point, I got so good at cold calling, it was like disgusting. Okay. I got really good at closing sellers virtually too. I did virtual wholesaling for my dorm room basically half this year and then went back to school. I did college virtually. So I came back to the same school. Actually, technically was in virtual. I just took the classes online and I did the test online, but it was the business school. So they let you do that already. So they didn't even know I left. I was an off campus student. So it was kind of fun. I still graduated, but like I graduated, I think when I was 19. So yeah, kind of cool. But yeah, guys, just understanding, like, so everyone like can kind of get a grasp of this. But like, I failed a lot. I was cold calling. This was my grind year. So like, I put anybody to the test on a quote unquote grind year. But like, I cold called 5 hours a day, 5 days a week for an entire year straight. That's everyone else. Like, how did he become elite at cold calling? I spent 5 hours a day cold calling for a year straight. There's no shortcuts to success when it comes to your cold calling. I grinded. That is how I became good at cold calling. You cannot become elite at acquisitions or elite at cold calling by thinking or practicing it. You just have to do it. And it's an unfortunate truth about becoming really good at cold calling, how to become really good at talking to sellers, but you just have to do it. You just have to have experience. That is going to be the biggest thing it's going to take for you to become elite at cold calling, become elite at acquisitions, and become an elite wholesaler. You're going to have to grind. And I know it's a very overused term, grinding, but that's how I became really good. That's how I was able to triple my income. I grinded and I got really good at cold calling. Guys, when you spend 5 hours a day, 5 days a week for a year straight cold calling and you're doing 1 to 2 deals every single month, it's really hard not to get good at it. Okay. It's really hard not to. And that's really what I did. And it changed the game for me for wholesaling success. That is what changed everything for me. So yeah, guys, I can just tell you right now, that's what I did in my growth grind stage. I just leveled up. I got better every single month. And really like you really look at it like, it's, you think of like Madden or 2K, right? And I don't know if that's a good example for a lot of people, but like I went from like a 70 level to like a 80 on stage 1 to 2, and then went from like 80 to 90 stage 2, right? That's a pretty big jump. And then stage 3 I went from like 90 to 94 or like 90 to 93. And right now I'm working my way up to get to a 99. I would say I'm at a 97 right now. But I'm still working every day. It's going to take me 2-3 years to get to a 99, even 5 years to get to a 99. But like, you're so good at that point, right? And that's the thing. So actually, I went from a 50 to a 70 my first year, right? Like it's easy to level up when you're at a lower level, and then when you get up, it's kind of harder to get up those levels, right? And that's honest. That's the honest point. So stage 2 is my grind. That's really was the grinding point, and that's really where it took a lot of my skill set, right? And we go here to stage 3, right? So stage 3 is scaling. Remember, I partnered up with my dad. I started creating systems, employees. This was the hardest part for me. Like, stop going on appointments and start having my employees go on the appointments instead. And the uncomfortable truth I learned from doing this was my employees were at most 65 to 70% as good as me, which means if I was going to, I'm just doing the math right now, guys. So if I was going to net a $2 million that year, if I had my employees do it all themselves, which I had to, I was only going to make 1.4 million. And that's sad. And that's an uncomfortable truth that I lost $600,000 by scaling. But the interesting part about that is, like, you do the math here. If I went on all the appointments myself, I would only able to make $1 million, but I'm at max efficiency. And if I had $2 million and there's 7% effective, I made 1.4, which means I actually made $400,000 more because I can't be at 3 appointments at the same time, but my employees can. And that's really what I learned. And you're just doing more deals, and that eventually makes you more money. So, like, the other way I like to look at it is like, being a 3-point shooter. Would you rather make half of all the 3-pointers you shoot? Let's say would you rather make half of 33 pointers, which is going to be 15 times 3, which is 45, right? Or would you rather be 100% or 99% and do 3-pointers, right? No, you're going to make 4 times more money by shooting more, right? And you might miss some, but like overall, you're going to make more points. And that's the point, right? Like that, pun intended, but like that is how I grew, because I made less money per deal, but I was able to do more deals. And that's when I started virtually wholesaling, right? So like one thing I'll tell you is I started wholesaling like Knoxville, Tennessee, and my average assignment deal in stage 3 was like $40K. But my average assignment fee virtually was $15K in Knoxville. But I was able to just add an extra market. And eventually that made me extra like $500,000 doing that. And I was just doing more virtual markets, scaling up, and boom, 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 right? Like that's the point of what I do. That's the point of what I did. And I started working less. And well, actually, okay, I take that back. Stage 3, I was actually working more than ever. Not as much as stage 2, but stage 3, I was working the same amount, but I was scaling up. Once I had the employees in place, I was able to go from basically, what's 14 times 7? I was working, basically stage 2, I was working 14 hours a day. I kid you not, I was working 14 hours a day. I worked out for an hour and I ate for an hour. And I slept like 6 hours. Okay. Like, kid you not, I was working 14 hours. And I was at school. I was doing virtual. So like 14 hours, I was working about 98, I'd say 100 hours. If you really look, I had to drive in between appointments. So I went from like 100 hours a week to stage 3 to like 60. And now I'm at like 10. And I'm at 10 because I want to. Okay. I want to scale up the virtual stuff and I want to scale up the JVs. So I'm at like 10 a week. I'm also at 10 a week because if I'm doing a flip, maybe I want to have my hand in it because I'm a control freak, I guess. So 10 hours, but really that's it. Like people are sending us like subject to deals, and I like my underwriting staff, but I'm probably just going to do it myself because I'm crazy and I'm going to hold the rental myself. But yeah, I could probably do it to 5, but I choose 10 and whatever, right? It makes me more money. So that's what I'm doing. Right. So a lot of growing pains, right? That was an unfortunate truth, but I had a lot of growing pains there. And I basically spent all my time scaling and training people, right? I mastered the wholesaling real estate game. That's really what I want to call it, right? I became a 94, 93, 94, 95%. But I mastered the game, guys. And that is what I did. And that's how I really became a millionaire in wholesaling, right? So like, where am I at now? Like, what's my stage now, right? I call this my abundance stage. So I'm 23 years old right now. I call this my abundance stage, right? And I just turned 23. So I really, had to think of what I want to do from 22 to 23. Like, what's my goal this year? What do I want to do in my wholesaling, right? And guys, this is a wholesaling video. So I do want to say this, but like, I run a lot more businesses than wholesaling. And I would say 75% of my income is from wholesaling and real estate investing, but about a quarter of that's from other businesses I did. And those businesses I've been working on kind of on the side creeped up to be a quarter of my income. And I don't talk about it because I really don't think those businesses are ones that I want to talk about currently. I don't want to be greedy or anything, but like, I'm going to keep it myself right now. And maybe one day on my personal channel, I'll talk about it, make a channel just on it, but I don't want to talk about it. I sound like a guru if I talked about it, so I ain't going to. Okay. But it's creeped up very well. And it literally cost me $1,000 to start kind of those side businesses, but it took me a little bit of time. So I'm working on that, but I don't talk about it. I don't like talking about it too much, but most of it's through real estate. If I look at real estate in general, maybe we add that to 80, right? So what am I up to now, right? What is my stage 4? I call this my abundance stage. For a lot of people, it might take you a decade to hit that, 15, 20 years. But I think I got lucky. I was in the right boat. The stream was really good when I was doing it. So yeah. So let's break this down. Okay. So all I'm doing right now is adding more virtual markets. I'm teaching you guys how to do deals. And then once you guys learn how to do deals, you're doing deals with me. That's pretty cool. Right. And if I wasn't JVing or I wasn't like teaching you guys didn't send us creative financing stuff, the other business would probably be 40%. But I was able to bring it down 25 because you started doing deals with us, which is pretty cool. So I would say it's like there originally, right? So yeah. And then you guys also like helped me out a lot. So I really like that too. But what's my next stage too? So teaching you guys how to do deals, flexing on every guru possible. That is part of my abundance stage. And that's just a personal goal for me. Just flexing on every guru, like why not? Why not flex on a guru? It makes me feel good, right? It's a hobby of mine, just flexing on a guru. Go watch the Dolphins win a Super Bowl this year. That's a goal. It's out of my control, so I didn't put it there. Flexing on a guru is part of my control, though. So, are we still on? All the lights flickered, but that's okay. Are we working? Let me check here. I think we're working. Yeah, so that's my goal, guys. Again, just FYI, so everyone knows, I am currently in the middle of a hurricane. Yeah, so currently I'm in the middle of a hurricane right now, and all the lights are starting to flicker, but that's fine. I'm still, every time I say flexing on a guru, my lights start flickering. So I know the gurus are watching me. I'm on LT on my phone, but I think we're still working. So whatever. We're going to keep it going. But yeah, so really what my goal is right now is FY. If the power goes out, I'll come back on or LTE, or I have to stop the stream short, but I ain't going to stop it. I should be able to be fine the next. Oh Lord. Okay. We're fine. I'm going to keep going till the power starts just busting out. All right. But really what I'm doing right now is I'm having fun. Like that is my goal in life right now. Like I have enough money, and I just want everyone to, like, I'm not saying this to flex on you guys, but like, I'm making more money now than I ever had in my entire life. And I have enough passive income. I don't have to worry about income for the rest of my life. And I say that humbly to let you know what is my stage? What am I doing? I'm here to have fun, make money, and help people out. Right. So yes, I don't talk about this too. Like I love, and like a lot of people ask me, like, what's my motivation for making money? Right. Like, why do I keep doing what I'm doing? Why do I keep on scaling my businesses? And it's very selfish to a point. But first, like, there's two reasons why I still try to double my income every single year. Every single year, why I try to double my income is, first of all, it's a video game and it's a hobby. I think building a wholesaling business and other businesses are just fun for me. I used to get the same thrill of playing Call of Duty and Madden. I still play those I love playing video games, right? But like, I have more fun doing businesses, and it's a video game, right? You go from this level to this level, and it's just with money now, right? And that's why I like it. The more money I make, the more money I get to give, the more philanthropy I get to do, which is pretty cool. And I don't ever talk about that, and I probably never will, because I don't do this for attention. But the more money I make, the more money I get to give to the people, give back to the communities and the charities I really care about. And that's pretty cool. I don't think I ever will talk about that, but yeah, I do like talk. I do like that. And that's what I enjoy. And that's a selfish reason why the more money I make, the more money I get to give, which is pretty cool. And I think that's one thing a lot of people don't really understand about this, but like, if you're making, I don't know if this is an ego thing saying, but like, if I was making $50,000 a year right now, and that's all I was making, I don't think I'd be able to give an X amount to charities and charitable sources every year, which I'm not saying. The coolest part about that is me making millions of dollars. I'm able to give a lot to charities and philanthropy type things. And that's pretty cool, I think. And if I'm making 50K, which is the equivalent of, 40, 50, 60, 100x the average person that's making $50,000, I'm able to actually give all what they're doing away to charities and free, where most people can't be able to do that. So that's what pushes me. That's why I want to help people out. And then the last part is, like, I kind of call this YouTube channel a charity. And I don't know if people get the wrong intention of what I say, what I mean by that, but like, Me giving you free real estate information cost me a lot of money because I could just have a link. I could charge I could probably charge, thinking how to do it like a guru. I could probably charge $1,000 for freewholesaling.com. And if I'm getting, so maybe like 8,000 we're getting. So let's slash that in half. And say 2,000 people a month. Okay. Pay me $1,000. I could probably make 24 million selling a course if I got really if I became a really good guru. And here's the thing. I'm literally giving away $24 million with this every single, because I could probably make, let's say 24. I'll split that with my dad. So 12. I'm literally giving away 24. I'm literally giving away $24 million of my time. Okay. Like I could charge a course right now with this and become a guru, but I don't. I could literally make $24 million right now, just giving this information and making a course on it and doing the whole guru thing, but I don't. This is my charity, guys. I literally gave $24 million worth of time to this charity and money, guys. Like really expensive cameras, really expensive studios, really expensive video editing, very expensive equipment, like all this stuff and my time. It's insane. Okay. So I just want everybody to understand here that that's a charity I run. And it's not like I give to more, but like I just want you guys to understand that like I'm looking at the long-term play of when I'm gone and when I'm like out of this world, right? And we never know what time we really have on this earth. And I'd rather have a legacy. And I pretty much donate anonymously to a lot of things. Rick does a lot too. I don't mention it. He doesn't mention it. We don't want to mention it, but we do it. And I want a lot of people to understand that like I'm doing this to change the world and change wholesaling. And I want they're so confused why I don't charge. And this is a charity to a point where I want to help people out. And once I do that, I'm able to create so many more. Like, I want you guys to understand, like, I do not make, and I will say this, I do not make $20 million a month. I do not. I don't make $10 million a month currently in wholesaling, but my subscribers do. And they all learn for free. So the net money I'm able to generate by teaching you guys is more money than I could ever make in my entire life. Okay. So just think about that for a second. Okay. So just letting you guys know. So that's what I'm doing. I'm building this charity up of teaching wholesaling for free. I have other stuff where I can actually put money towards like good causes, but like this is one cause I'm very passionate about, teaching people to learn real estate for free. So anybody has the ability to bring themselves up from any situation they're at. And because we are in such a powerful boat right now, and this is what I want to talk about, that we're in a powerful boat where you can be in the boat of wholesaling real estate, no money at all. You can go become a millionaire, right? No other business is really like this. And it's pretty cool. So I just want everyone to understand that. I want everyone to understand why I do what I do. And I think that's very misconstrued what I do. But that's what I do. And I want to help people out. And the more money I make, the more money I'm able to give. So that's it. That's what I do. So that's my stage 4. I want just for everyone to give an update of what I do, what I'm doing, what I'm planning on doing. That is it, right? And then mastering my other skills, right? Then this is a video game. This is a skill. I have fun with it, right? I want to get better at doing more creative deals, more multifamilies, more big flips, more rentals. And this is selfish, right? Because the more people that learn about me, the more people I get to send me over creative deals. A lot of multifamily people send me and I do deals and I sometimes just buy them, rent them out. But like, it's more selfish, but it makes me money and it makes me more motivated to give more. And that's the point, right? So I love my haters out here. So I do want to give a detailed breakdown of my first 3 years. I'm not going to do my current year, but I'll give you my first 3 years because I'm pretty sure the deadline for the IRS is gone for this. So it is fine, right? And yes, I've paid every single dime to taxes and more than I'm willing to do. I've never really done any crazy like tax dodge strategies. How much did I make, right? So my learn and earn year, I made around 150K. I made 100K before I graduated high school, but like really call 150K. And I was working a bag boy job, so I had money on there. But like I made about 150 taxes and other assets I owned when I was like 18. I've been investing in the stock since I was like, I think 10 years old. So I did have some assets. So yeah, once I bought them, I never sell them. So I about 126K net worth at 18. Pretty much my growth stage, I made about 300K. So I would say after taxes and everything like that, I was probably at add what 126 for about 378. I had to pay taxes. I just took 30% off of that, and obviously I had to pay like living expenses, food, stuff like that. Sorry, mom and dad, had to get out of the house. So obviously had to buy things, right? Car, rent, a house, mortgage, stuff like that. Utility bills. But really, my net worth went up. And then year 3, when I scaled, about 550K. And then also you got to remember that, and I know these numbers don't add up to a million, but they actually do. And one thing you got to understand is like when I made $150,000, I invested all of it after taxes pretty much. And I got very lucky from 2017 to 2020. When I bought real estate, I bought rentals, I bought stocks, I bought other assets that pretty much doubled in 3 years. I got very lucky and I did very high risk stuff, but 150K invested is like chump change for me right now. But like pretty much everything I invested. So I made about 450, really ended up being 378 after taxes, 350. That pretty much doubled in 2 years because I bought very, very good assets. And not to say much, but like I'm a big fan of Elon Musk. Made a ton of money with his stocks. You look at the numbers; they've doubled, tripled very fast. So that's another reason why my net worth went up very, very high too. But about 550, added this much, about another 378 capital gains, about $1 million, and then that was my net worth after 3 years, and then eventually making more money investing. I still pretty much invest. I live off of 20, so I try to make it 10, but like I force myself. So felt fifth. I probably invest 70% of all the money I ever make because I'm a little better with taxes now. And that stuff goes up probably, let's say things get bad, might go up 10, 15%. But honestly, on average, it's going up 30, 40 because it's very high risk. I'm getting a lot less high risk right now, but like I reinvest pretty much all the money I have. And that's one reason why I was able to become a millionaire and stay a millionaire was I want you guys to understand, you don't have to make $1 million a year to become a millionaire. If you make like, honestly, 80K and you can invest most of it for like a decade or two, you easily become a millionaire. And that'll give you 100K a month of 100K a year in passive income. Okay. I just want you guys to understand that. But yeah, that's pretty much like, those are my numbers, right? So the question is, how do you become a wholesaling millionaire in 2023, right? Like, what are your goals? What do you want to do? Like, how can you kind of copy what I did, but do it like currently now? So what is it, right? So think of what your stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3 are going to be. So I was 18, 19, and 20 years old pretty much in those 3 stages, right? So what are you going to do, right? So my stage 1, and for your stage 1, I think it's really obvious, but you should probably try to make your 100K in your first year. And you can do cold calling, government lists, drawing for dollars, revert. Guys, I didn't even do drawing for dollars till like second and a half year. Okay. Just like when everyone understands, you don't have to drive for dollars, but like, especially now, it'll make it a lot easier for you. But yeah, you don't have to, guys. And I want you guys to understand that you don't have to. Year 2, your growth year, I think you guys should grind. Drive for dollars all you can, cold call all you can, really gain those skills, make as much money as possibly can. Become elite. Then 3, if you're making that much money, you should probably start scaling up after $500,000, even $250,000, and then go from there, right? Guys, I have all my scaling systems at freewholesaling.com. I show you how much to pay your people, who to hire first, who not to hire, how to train them, all the stuff like that. It's all in there. And so again, guys, at freewholesaling.com, I do teach you everything you need to know about wholesaling real estate the right way, how to wholesale houses, how to wholesale real estate, how to scale up, pretty much going from 0 to $1 million. It's all in that course. It's all in there. I'm going to teach it to you guys, and I always have taught you it. So that's how you become a wholesaling millionaire, right? I really want to do now is kind of break down my biggest lessons I learned. And I learned a lot of lessons during this journey, and I want you guys to understand them. So what are the biggest lessons I've learned, right? I think number 1, confidence and skills in wholesaling. Pretty much all of my confidence and all of my skills I've had in wholesaling and the ones I have currently, pretty much 90% come from experience. And I hate to say that, but it's an uncomfortable truth I think you guys have to know. And I'm telling you guys what you need to know, not what you want to know. And what you need to know is the confidence to start closing to start is just by doing it, right? But the confidence to go in and out every single day and make as much money as possible is going to come from your experience. The next one here is Eat That Frog, and that's a really cool book I read. And I sort of look at it like that. It's like, hey, if you have to eat a frog, all right, like here's a big fat toad and you got to eat it. You have 24 hours to eat it. Whether you're going to wait till the 23rd hour and eat it, or just sit there, go to bed, think about eating the frog, go to work, think about eating that dang frog, or I just eat the frog right now and just get it over with, right? And I like that book. It was really cool about how to get rid of procrastination. And I think a lot of wholesalers have analysis paralysis disguised as you have a lot of analysis paralysis disguised as really it's procrastination pretty much. And a lot of people like to think that you just got to gobble that frog down. I like what Kaylin says here. Just gobble that frog. And you got to. Like, that's the only way to do it. But really, that's how you're going to gain the confidence and skills needed for success. Just let's go, right? Show up and do the work every single day. That's eating the frog to a point still. But creating a schedule for wholesaling and sticking to it and going after it, that's going to give you the most success possible. Show up and do the work every single day required, and you'll do well. If you do not show up every single day to do the work, you only do the work when you feel like it, you're not going to do well. Guys, when I was cold calling 5 hours a day, 5 days a week for a year straight, I could probably tell you 70% of the time or 75% of the time, I didn't want to cold call. I really didn't. And this is an honest admission I can tell you. I did not want to. Half the time when I work out, I don't want to work out either. Actually, I would say most of the time I don't want to work out, but I do it anyway because I value my health and discipline more than that. And it was just a discipline thing for me to get really good at cold calling acquisitions, right? So I showed up, I did the work every single day. And it's hard for a lot of people to understand that concept, but I think it's something you guys have to master and understand. That there's no glory in not doing the work. There's always glory in working hard and doing it every day until you get the result. I just want you guys to understand that, right? And the last one, and probably the most important part, and I want everyone to understand this, but you will struggle in wholesaling real estate. And I want to talk about this. You will struggle. And what I mean by this is you are going to have some tough moments coming up in your life if you're going to get into wholesaling real estate. Every single person pretty much that has made $1 million in wholesaling has had struggles. I've had the struggles, right? You are going to go through some moments that are going to push you, test you, and push you to the brinks of your limits and what you really think you can do as a human being. Mentally, physically, spiritually, all of it. It's going to suck, okay? But I want you guys to understand there's nothing, and I can tell you this, there's nothing. I've looked at every great man and woman in the entire history of the entire world, and they've all had to go through struggle. I look at some of my personal heroes. I look at some people I really look up to. They've all struggled to get to where they had to be, okay? You really look at the people that made real change in this world. Think of somebody that has inspired you in your life, not just in business, but like in general. They all had to go through struggle, right? And a lot of that struggle can go in vain if you quit. And you never hear about the person that struggled and quit. You never do. You only hear about the person that struggled, failed, and kept going until it worked, right? Think of Thomas Edison. Failed, got it right. You think of every great entrepreneur in general in history, every great leader, king or queen, and they all had to go through struggles, trials and tribulations. But I really like the people that went from nothing and proved themselves to something, right? And you have to go through struggle. You have to go through pain and suffering to really make the true change you want in your life and for the people in your life, right? And I think a lot of people get that really down. And I kind of always say the story in February and sometimes in January, but like I really like somebody, and one person that always comes to mind when I talk about you have to go through struggle to get something. And some people take the ultimate sacrifice to really change their life, right? And one person I always think of is like MLK Jr., right? Martin Luther King Jr. That guy's one of the biggest inspirations in my life. And I always talk about him on his birthday, but that man has gone through, he went through so much stinking struggle. And he had to just struggle in his life. And then he struggled to bring people out of a struggle, right? And he could have quit so many times. He could have quit so many stinking times. They threw the man in jail. Okay. He never quit. And until the day he died, he never surrendered. And with his sacrifice, he was able to help people and help society in the United States. And he's one of the really recent ones I can think of. Like, I mean, there's people the past 50 years, but like really past 100 years, people that really made true changes in this country, that went through insane struggle and is able to give the ultimate sacrifice for it. You think of veterans, you think of people that really went to war for this country and protect this country, and save people out, right? Like they went through struggle, but it was all not in vain. I don't want to get like that intense, but like you look at some of the greatest people of all time, they all went through struggle. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, the biggest entrepreneurs, they all had a struggle. And if you learn quick that you will have to struggle, but at the other end of that struggle, there's going to be riches, dreams, and anything you could ever desire at the end of that, it was there, right? Like I had a lot of struggle, but really pushed me is thinking of my life past that struggle, that second year. I had a lot of doubts starting out, a lot of doubts with the grind, but I just kept going and I never stopped. I never surrendered with it. And eventually I kept going and it worked, right? And the coolest part about that is like, I never, with that struggle now, I went through all that. It sucked, but I don't have to work a job, right? I don't have to worry about money for the rest of my life. My family doesn't worry about money for the rest of my life. Of course, I partnered with my dad, so this wasn't motivation for me too much, but like my mom never has to struggle about money for the rest of her life. She can retire if she wants to. Like my entire family. If I ever have kids, they never have to struggle about money. And pretty much my entire, you know, family tree now, they don't have to worry about it because I did that struggle. And I was able, it's kind of me and Rick doing it together, but like we kind of broke the chains in our family, right? We're like the money is never an issue anymore because we did it, right? And if you look at your family in the future, right? Do they want to go look at their future father? If I ever have a son or a daughter and think, hey, he worked his butt off and he struggled for us to be where we're at right now. And it's really like you look at a path, and that's how I look at it, right? And I've had great grandparents come to this country with no money, no English, no skills at all. And they went through some of the most horrific situations you could ever even possibly imagine in your mind. Think of the worst someone can go through and just think about that times 10 and come to this country with no money, no English, nothing. And and make something of themselves. And they went through all that. They went through all that stinking struggle. I'm not going to let them go in vain of their struggle and just to work a regular job and not to do what I want to do. Okay. I want you guys to understand this. You do not descend from weak men and women in your family. I don't care who you are looking right now. You, to be born right now, your ancestor had to go through probably some of the most horrific, struggling things. Okay. You even go more back then when everyone was in Africa, right? As cavemen. And they literally had to fight tooth and nail against tigers and lions and whatever there was out there trying to kill you every single day. And they went through that and struggled and they fought. They probably go through so much crazy stuff. Even think of your family from the 1200s to the 1300s. And if you really look at back to your great grandparents, there's pretty much, they had to go through so much. And I think every single person of us watching, if you really go back enough, even 100 years, even 2, 3, 4, 500 years, you'll find a lot of people in your family struggled and they sacrificed everything. And they had to go through some of the hardest things any human being can possibly can go through, right? And are you really going to like stop that right now and just say, hey, I don't feel like it? When they had to go through so much worse, do you really like, I want to honor that and go as hard in the paint as I can to change my life and change everything. And that what gets me out of the bed in the morning. I think about how crazy my life could have been. Why not try to just push the limits of how much money I can make, how much change I can make in the world when my family had to go through all this, right? Um, and that's kind of the end of my rant here. But like, if you really think about it, your ancestors had to go through a lot. They were not weak men and women. Okay, your ancestors, right? They were not. They were strong. They worked hard. They struggled a lot. So why do you think you're going to go through life without struggles? You won't. At least make the struggles meaningful. And I made my struggle meaningful. Okay. So if you have air in your lungs right now, okay, if you're watching this right now, if you air in your lungs and you're alive, and hopefully, I'm hoping your family is safe and healthy, you are probably some of those blessed people on earth. And if you have this blessing, why not go make good of that blessing, right? So that's my rant. You will struggle, but the struggle is worth it, and that is what I can say.